Hello. I hope you guys are good out there, and I hope that you guys have been really good. So welcome back to Sister Talk with Belinda. I hope that you guys have been good, have been doing well, and you guys have been doing whatever you had to do for you guys to be safe out there. So today we are joined by an amazing woman, and I know that you guys are going to be learning so many things from her. And I hope that all of the information and all of the knowledge that you will gain from her, you guys are going to be using it out there. So welcome our guest, and her name is Snokuthula Buthelezi. So Snokuthula, welcome to Sister Talk with Belinda. How have you been?
I've been great, Belinda. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak on the platform, and I hope to engage well with the audience and with you as well.
Perfect. So guys, we're going to be having a friendly conversation with her, and we're going to just be talking about the things that you guys encounter, and she's going to be sharing her experience and her life experience and everything. So I hope that you guys are going to enjoy, have a good time out there. So Snow, tell us about your background. Our viewers, I would like them to just have an understanding of who Snokuthula is and where, in terms of when she grew up and everything.
Basically, Snokuthula is, my name is Snokuthula Buthelezi, named by my beautiful grandmother. I grew up and I was born in a small town, not far from Pietermaritzburg, Ozwatini. It's just a small, place. It was actually a German found place. The Germans were the first people who settled there, and there were nuns there. So I grew up in that kind of environment, and it was colorful. That's what I'd say. I always call myself a colorful child for certain reasons, because I grew up with so many different characters and people and got to live in so many different places and experienced so many different things in my life. So I wouldn't say you can describe me in one word. I've got literally so many definitions to me. So I feel like that's why I would say I'm a colorful child.
For someone out there who really would like to understand that, what does one mean when they say that they're a colorful child? How would you outline it to someone out there?
Okay, basically what I can say is, you know how somebody can define themselves and say, okay, I like a certain type of music, I listen to a certain type of music, I like a certain type of maybe hobby to do specifically. Maybe I when I explain who I am, when I tell people who I am, I'm only a certain type of way. I don't feel like I'm that way. I don't feel like you can compile me or put me in a box. I feel like there's lots of meanings to me. For example, I can listen to R&B or hip-hop just as well as I can listen to Maskandi or gospel. So there's no one way of defining me. I've got different definitions. I can talk to a person who's very young from me, like a person who was born literally in the 2000, as you can say, or I can speak to and relate to a person who's older than me. So there's no one way to define me. I'm not like, I can't say I'm your typical rural girl, I'm not your typical Kasi girl, I'm not your typical suburban girl, I'm everything in one. So that's why I say I'm a colorful child.
She's a colorful child. I hope you guys are learning out there. I hope you are taking up notes and learning quite a few from her. So yeah, as she says that she's a colorful person, she means that she's a person that can blend. You can blend in any category. So she's a person that is open out there, can blend and can be social with any being at any time. So Snow, I want us to talk about something that I feel that most of teenagers, especially teenagers, are going through currently. Not even currently, I think it's an issue that we have been experiencing for years and years. It's just that we as women do not have time, or there's no platform, or there's no place where we can talk about this. Talking of body image.
Body image is another thing that I can say is it's a lot. It's a lot in one. And I feel like, not to put it out there, but just to generalize it, I feel like we have now been taught a certain type of way to feel about body image.
True.
So I always hear people say, complimenting others and say, she's beautiful, writing this, she's that. Who gave you the definition of beautiful. Why would you put somebody in front of you and say, okay, this works? Who said this works and that can't? So I feel like with body image, it has hurt us so many times, and I feel like even now, I can see there's a change in social media and whatnot. They're trying to create a bigger platform for people of another size other than your typical, slender figure girl. They're trying to put out people who are big and whatnot in their size, but then I also feel like it's still not pushed to that limit. They're still confining it, they're still controlling it. So there is that certain wavelength of saying they put a person there and they say this person is bigger in size. They put like maybe let's say an ad for a magazine or for a certain type of retail outlet like a store. And then they put a woman there to sell clothes in a catalog, and then they say she's big. And then they're still confining it. They still look for a person with a certain shape. You wouldn't necessarily find a person who has a big tummy. Like you wouldn't necessarily find a person who has a really big lower body. They still confine it to say she's big, but then she's average looking size. So they still haven't pushed the envelope as yet. I feel like we still
have a long way to go.
we still have a long way to go. And it hurts kids. It hurts kids. I know I grew up getting hurt by it quite a bit, quite a lot. And people have assumptions. I was doing my hair the other time.
Okay.
And then I encountered this woman that was doing my hair, and she was busy with somebody else at that time. And then I decided to stand up and I went to buy myself something to eat.
Okay.
I buy a packet of chips. When I stood up and I went and I came back, they always sitting there and they're like, oh, but you're so flexible. And I'm like, but why would you? And they said, the way you stood up and the way you could be able to rush and go to the store. I'm like, but why would you define a person who's not big as a person who's big as being unhealthy? Why would you say that? Okay, in some aspects, yes, there is some health complications that are involved, but necessarily it's not all in all cases, and it doesn't mean that you're not disabled.
That's true.
You just happen to be big, but you're not disabled. You can still do things like on your own. I grew up this weight. I've never been small in my entire life. I've never, from the time I was a toddler to now, I've never been small. And I don't say people who want to change their images are wrong. They're not wrong. But I'm also saying you need to own it.
True.
It's your body weight, so you need to own it. And sometimes when we do try and own it, I feel like people are always ready to judge.
That's true.
They're always ready to say, oh, but why is Snow wearing such a short skirt? Oh, but why is Snow wearing something that's so revealing or that's so tight? It doesn't look good on her. Didn't she look at herself in the mirror when she left the house? And we end up judging ourselves at the end of the day because we tend to take those things in. So yeah.
So I feel like when she's talking about that the problem that most of the teenagers out there, and not even teenagers, even older people, married people that are like trying by all means to show that they want to develop themselves, they want to accept themselves the way they are. They find it very difficult because out there it's very tough. People tend to judge, and I don't want to blame it on the parents or our backgrounds, but I feel like it's time we as the upcoming generation to spread the word out there that we need to accept ourselves the way we are. And we need to understand that beauty is not about being a slender. Beauty is not about being a light-skinned person. It's not about being a dark-skinned person. Beauty is just beauty. It's just being able to accept yourself the way you are, the way God created you. Snow is lovely. She's beautiful. She's amazing. So I would say she's beautiful, and she owns it. She feels it. So I feel like it's time for us to just be really, 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 really honest to our kids in such a way that we teach them that you need to accept yourself the way you are, and you need to understand one thing, that self-confidence is very important.
It is highly important. I feel like You know, as I grow up and I experience things, you experience things with your family, with your friends, and also when you start dating, you start seeing certain things. Well, there's a lot of stories. I could go on forever about the things that I've experienced when it comes to generally dating. But then I feel like people just have misconceptions.
Yeah.
They feel, some of them feel uncomfortable around you.
True.
Like I was on a date the other time with this other gentleman, and I could seriously feel like he didn't look at my face. He kept looking at my body, and you could tell he was uncomfortable because he was looking at me like, you know, he couldn't fathom looking at what I was saying, hearing or listening to what I was saying. He kept on looking at my movements, my body, how I was, you know, it makes you feel a certain type of way to have somebody do that. And I feel like as big women, we don't, some of us, I don't mean everyone, I've seen very beautiful women in social media these days that are actually large in size, that are doing incredible things. But I feel like there's also some of us, the minority of us, that are still like in the hidden shadows because of the things that we went through. And what frustrates me the most is, why do you have to fight? Why do you have to fight for the other man to not call you when you walk on the road to Stula and to just ask your name? Why do we have to fight for those things when other people don't? They have the courtesy of asking some people, or even umuntu oyisilenda, why does she have to fight to be called a certain way? Why do we have to fight to get a place, to get our respect from other people? Why do we have to always fight? Why can't things come as they should? Why can't we all just be human beings and exist in the world? Why does there have to be stigmas and these cliques that are formed and these ways and these misconceptions? Why can't we look at a woman who's beautiful and in the image as they put her there, and who's successful, and just say she's a successful woman? Why do we have to now categorize or compare people to those people? Why do we have to make comparisons with people? People are unique in their own way. People are special in their own way.
That's true. That's very true.
I feel like those things are the things that promote greed. They promote jealousy. They promote suicide.
Yeah, that's really, suicide is the most touchy one.
They promote women who don't care about how they look. They don't care about themselves. Oh, what the hell? Why should I care? So it's a promotion of low self-esteem, depression.
That's true.
I'm not saying if I'm not your type and I'm not the type of person that you like and I don't feel lovely to you, you don't have to force yourself to say and you look nice. But don't make it a point to come to me and tell me that I don't look a certain way just because it's what you feel. You know? I feel like we're promoting all these bad, negative things just from judging and comparing people to others, which is not fair. And sometimes you never know what kind of input a person has in your life. Just get to know a person and talk to a person before you just judge them according to what you think is right.
At the end of the day, I feel like we as women, we have a job. I would put it as a job because I feel like it's something that we as women need to work on before men even come into that. I feel like once we as women work together, once we as women learn to love each other the way we are created by God, then we can fight this battle because it all starts with us. Once we cannot become united, once we do not see each other as beautiful, people who look who are beautiful in their own way, we can't fight this battle. We will lose it because men actually extend on what we actually have created.
I feel like we play such a big factor in our lives.
That's true.
As each other, we play such a huge factor in our lives. And I feel like we push so much pressure on each other.
That's true.
You know, it's very rare to find a tight-knit group of girlfriends.
That's true.
Friends that are like really united. Girlfriends, a sisterhood.
Who are going to be honest to each other.
It's hard to find.
Because I feel like honesty is the most important thing. It's very important to be honest.
It's literally so hard to find that, to find females who have this sisterhood, who are like a tight-knit group, who work together and all those things, it's extremely hard.
But I feel like we can try that. We can do that.
Yeah, we literally can.
Like we'll get there. And I have faith that one day we as women can change the way we view things, can change the way we look at each other, can change the way we do things.
Yes.
You know, because I feel like me, now you will be able to and if we do that, abantu besilisa will not become a problem in our lives. Because it's gonna be like, I've got your back, girl. You've got my back. You know? Because sometimes abantu besilisa bahlekisa ngathi, or not necessarily bahlekisa ngathi, but they tend to do things or say whatever they say because of what we do or how we respond to certain situations. Because at the end of the day, what happens is that what you might go through, I may also go through that thing one day. I like this topic, but we just have to move on to the next one.
Okay.
It's an interesting one. We can speak about this for like years. And I promise you guys we're going to continue this one on our page. So let's talk about the fact that Snow, you have once outlined the fact that you were once working, and then you decided to shift to be going back to varsity. I would like to learn from your side that what really inspired you to that this thing, that shift.
Okay, my transition was generally it was circumstance. You know, I worked and I enjoyed working, and then I had challenges, a lot of challenges that people face in the workplace. I feel like I had challenges that were personal and also that were professional. So it just, at the end of the day, I had a chance to reflect, although it was a chance that I didn't anticipate on having, but I had to reflect. But I felt like there was a force that moved me from that environment. Although I am a firm believer, but I feel like it was a force that moved me at that point, a higher power, so to speak, that moved me and transitioned me from working, and it just became quite a lot. There was a lot, it was something on top of something on top of something. You know, sometimes when you're experiencing negative like energies or negative like scenarios happening in your life, it just happens. One becomes the other, and the other becomes another, and another, and another. And then it ends up being a lot. So it ended up being a lot for me, and then I had to go back home to my grand's place, and I had to reflect, because I grew up mostly with my mom's side of the family. So I had to reflect a lot when I got there. I cried a lot. I did a whole introspection. I stood in front of the mirror 1,000 times. I cried, I bawled my eyes out. There were times where I would just sit there and I didn't have anything to say. Just tears running down my face, disappointments, regrets, the time I spent that I could have done other things with, and the fact that I hadn't figured myself out. I think it was that I didn't know who I was. I had no idea who I was. I had no idea what was going on in my life. I was just stuck. So then I sit there, and then I was going through the phase of saying, let me just go back to school. This was sort of, varsity was a break in a way for me. So it was a transition to say I needed something totally different from what I was doing to shift me from that dynamic and put me somewhere else. So when I wanted to attend varsity, then I obviously had to browse through the things that I wanted to do, and then I figured out that I had this big bond with kids, and it's turning out really well. I'm discovering things about me that, you know, I feel like every child needs both sides to figure out who they are.
That's true.
Because not only do we have like physical appearances that are in line with both like the maternal and paternal
Yeah.
sides, but it's also the personality, the attitude, what
Yeah.
you do. There's certain things that you feel like, there's certain relations that I sit when I talk to my dad and I'm like, okay, so now that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Okay, now
Yeah,
I
that's
realize,
true.
oh, okay. So as he's speaking, I'm like, okay, so that's where I get it from. So it's those things that I feel like it's just soothing and comforting moments in the midst of all this things that are happening, and I'm discovering myself quite a lot, so I'm enjoying it.
So, guys, when Snow is saying that she got to basically get to discover more of herself when she like sort of met father. So this means that parents can play such a huge role in us having to discover ourselves. So to someone out there who may have been in your situation, not knowing who their father is, struggling to discover their identity and everything, what would you say to someone out there?
I would say, I know it's hard, it's really hard to find a parent when you don't know who they are. And most of the time there's usually conflicts that happened before that led to you not knowing that certain parent, and it gets to that certain rough point where you don't know what to do. But what I'm gonna say is, when you find someone, even if your father or mother they no longer alive, or they passed on, probably maybe when you found out who they were, they passed on, try to find relatives, try to find siblings. You'll find certain things in those people. My baby sister right now from my dad's side, she says my number is twin because we are directly the same. I feel like we complement each other in certain ways because she's impatient, I'm a bit patient. So, but then when it comes to our bubbliness and our outgoingness, we are totally the same person. So I feel like with those things, every child needs those things, and I'm appealing to all parents out there to consider, even if you had fights with the paternal side or the maternal side, or there were conflicts, just to try by all means to connect your kids to their parents, to have both of the parents in the family. It's vitally important for them. It gives them a sense of purpose, but it also gives them a sense of originality and uniqueness. And you want to first discover who you are from your parents, then move on to discovering yourself personally.
That's true.
So I feel like that is vitally important for kids to know who they are, and for them to know that they are vitally important, that they're valid. Just give them that certain, I know it's hard to do. I'm not basing this solely on the parents. I know it's hard to do. It's a hard thing to do, to keep a parent away, or if a parent is away, but they need to join in with their kids. It's very important to have that bond. That bond is something that is extremely important, and children should also learn to forgive their parents.
That's really true. The importance of forgiveness. You just touching on something very important. I feel like it happens that in relationships things don't go the way that we expect them to go, but once a child is involved, we should always keep it in mind that that child deserves to know their father or their mother. And it goes the other way around. If you are a child like me and you have both your parents, mother and father, it's very important to value them. Because there are kids out there who do not even have that opportunity. There are kids out there who don't even know who their mother is, who their father is. That means that child doesn't even know their identity. So it's a touchy story which forces one to appreciate the little that they have, to value their parents, to just value whatever you have in that particular time.
It's vitally important. I feel like you just need to bridge that gap. You need to close that gap. I feel like the Snow that was with her mother's side and only knew that growing up is different from the Snow now. I'm tackling so many issues.
Things are starting to unfold.
They're starting to unravel in my life, and it's getting really strange. I touched on something that I was reflecting on when I was alone in the house. I was like, I'm a firm believer in Christ. I'm a Christian, born and bred. I'm not even. But then there's this point in my life whereby I started now learning my father's beliefs and his ancestral beliefs. And you know, I had perceptions. I don't want to paste myself as a good or a bad person, but then I had these misjudgments. And now my shift, I'm learning. So my knowledge, I'm not really shifting from my beliefs, but I'm acknowledging. I'm acknowledging a whole lot of other people's beliefs, other people's values. So now I'm starting to acknowledge other people.
And I think maybe it's also helping you in terms of judgment, the way maybe you used to judge or look at like different cultures and whatsoever. Did it have an impact in that way?
Even I used to judge myself. You know, sometimes when you grow up in a certain way and you know only one way.
That's true.
When you diverge, you kind of judge yourself and you're like, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I even supposed to be saying this? Am I supposed to be in this environment? But it's totally fine. That's what I realized. I'm not saying for everybody else, but for myself. I feel like it's totally fine. Right now, I can be around anybody, do anything, and experience these sort of like values and beliefs and traditions without basing any judgment. Because they literally have no impact on your soul. People don't understand. You create your boundary when it comes to what your soul takes in and what doesn't take in. So for me, it honestly doesn't, it has no bearing. And I'm loving it actually. I'm loving learning new things.
The experience, exploring. It's sort of like exploring, like looking at things and like experiencing how things are done in this particular culture or way. So I feel like it is very important to embrace, respect, and always show that your culture is important, my culture is important, your culture is important. So we as humans, we need to get this thing that each and every one of us have a specific role to play out there when it comes to culture. We should not tend to judge.
And also we should challenge. Ask questions. Challenge everything.
True.
If there's no way you're going to learn anything without challenging it.
That's very true.
So I'm challenging it now. I had a conversation with my father, a really, really rough one when we started knowing each other. I was like, but why do you believe in this? Why is this important? And although I looked at it with that in a judgmental eye, I was so grateful that he calmed down and he answered me in a way that was very, very polite. And he didn't force me into anything. But then I just gradually started learning.
And I feel like when you're saying that he answered calmly, that means that your father was trying to make you understand in a way that would not make you angry, but in a way that you were going to learn something. And also get to understand why and see doing whatever he does in his particular culture. So I think culture plays an important role in our lives, and hence we need to always respect each other's culture, because we come from different backgrounds, we believe in different things, but all of that is important at the end of the day. So Snow, I wanted to talk about some of the challenges that you experienced when you had to like shift from being an employee to being a student, because I feel like that's a whole gap.
The big bad world of, people say there's a big bad world in working. There's a big bad world in varsity when you're my age. I'm 31 currently, turning 31 actually. I was challenged because I first challenged myself before I even started attending lectures. I was already scared. I was like, am I able to grasp the work that they give me? Because when you come to think of it, I matriculated in 2007. So to me, from 2007 transitioning to going back to now writing an essay, typing out an essay, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do that. That was the first challenge that I feel like I experienced, and I feel like I was already geared to when coming to lectures that was going to be my problem. Obviously it was age. Would I relate to my fellow classmates? Am I going to be able to gain relations, friends within varsity, or am I just always going to be that girl who sits in the corner by herself, not having any friends, not being able to talk to anybody because of my age? I won't relate. But then, that funny enough is because I'm colorful, as I said.
It plays a role.
It came in handy. I was able to talk to all of my classmates. It was like we were peers. Right up to the point where people didn't actually believe that I was that age. So I'm still challenging it now. But everybody in varsity keeps saying, no, you're lying.
I still don't believe
you
her.
Know
I am the one of those
right?
people that know her, but I don't believe that she is.
You know, when they get on my nerves, I usually say, guys, start respecting me, I'm your auntie. So then they're like, no, you can't say that. We not. I'm saying start respecting me, I'm your auntie. And I'm older than some of the staff members as well. I'm like, you can't tell me that, you need to listen to me, I'm older than you. And then it becomes that it was a challenge, but then I also found it very, very it was an enjoyable stage in my life, because also interacting with those people that were younger than me, it also gave me a sense of understanding of who I was. It kind of unveiled things. Some things weren't good, I don't want to lie. Some things were bad. I had challenges as well when it came to relations and varsity and all of that. Some of them were bad, but some of them were really, really good. The other challenge that I did have was basically the transition of earning a monthly salary to
Talk about that. Talk about that.
Okay, when we get to that, you know, when you stop working and you receive your funds when you leave, you probably think, no, I'm gonna make it. Okay, no, I'm right. You know, this is time over, and then boom, life happens, and then you're like, I can't work anymore. I can't go back. I can't afford this. What's I feel like that is still a challenge. I don't want to lie to you. I'm still transitioning to it because I was used to a certain way.
That's true.
Because I earned a salary to maintain my lifestyle. And now my lifestyle has to completely change. So it's still a challenge even today. I'm still struggling with a lot of it. I'm still unable to manage the funds that I have. It's still just a whirlwind of emotions, and it gets tough. It's really challenging at times. But I'm living with it. I'm moving on. I guess that's all you can do. That's all you can do.
And I feel like at some point there are certain decisions that we need to make for us to live a better future one day. So I feel like it wasn't a mistake that you made. I feel like at some point you had to sit down with yourself and figure out what exactly do you like. Because in most cases, sometimes for us to get whatever we want, we need to make some sacrifices. There are a lot of sacrifices that we need to do for us to be able to reach a certain level. So I feel the challenge that you're having right now, at some point you will be able to overcome them. And one day when you get your degree, you'll be.
Yeah, I feel like I live, and I feel like there's a lot of people who also live this life. People might call it irresponsible, it's not. I live a guessing game life. Like, I feel like I live in that moment and I move on gradually. So every time I've learned to say, okay, this is what I have. This is what I'm able to get. So I need to make sure I get what I get. What I don't get, I don't get. I see tomorrow. So that's basically how I'm living at the moment. Although some people will say that's a bad motto, people who plan and do all those things. I'm not much of a planner. I work with my emotions and I work with what I have at the moment. And then in order for me not to panic, not to be depressed, not to be scared, not to be stressed out, I just told myself, okay, let's live in the moment. Let's work with what we have now. And then gradually do what we can. What we can't do, we'll see. Life will push us through.
That's strong advice. That's a very strong one, and I hope that you guys have literally taken note of it. That you use what you have in a particular time, make use of it, and do not blame yourself at any point. I feel like sometimes we usually blame ourselves for whatever we have at that time, not knowing that ikusasa lomuntu lisiveza ngendlela ezingafani. You know, as people, mina, the way that uNkulunkulu angihlelele ngakhona impilo yami, it's totally different to someone else. For me to reach a level yokuthi Belinda, she's right there at the top. There are specific things for me to reach that level. And it's one of the things that you had to go through for you to be able to reach that level.
I feel like I wouldn't say, the one thing that I told myself, I can lie to anybody else but not myself.
True.
So I'm not lying to myself when I say, I know I'm not there. I'm far from it. I'm far from perfection. I'm far from being the greatest person.
Yeah.
I know I've got bad and good choices that I've made, but I'm working on it. And it's one day at a time, one moment at a time,
True.
one obstacle at a time. So I'm doing that. I'm literally not going to put pressure on myself and say, oh no, but this thing I haven't done, I should do it. No. I'm literally just gonna take it as it comes.
And we're touching on something that I feel like in most cases we as women are facing currently. We're putting ourselves in a position where you become pressured by what your peers are achieving at that particular time. And I feel like it's becoming a problem.
My peers, okay, honestly, my peers have probably achieved higher things than I have. Most of them, because they probably gradually moved on in their lives. But I'm not here for anybody else's life. I'm here for mine.
Can you repeat that? I love it.
I am not here for anybody else's life. I'm here for mine. So when I was created, in whatever way I was created in, it was just me. There was nobody else with me. It was just me. My mom was not even with me. She was a vessel that was just carrying me. It was just me. So who do I have to honor in this life? Myself. Who do I have to take care of? Myself. Who do I have to not put pressure on to achieve other people's things? It's myself. It's other people's things. So what you need to do as a person, you just clap for the next person and you move on.
You do what?
You clap.
You clap, girl.
Clap for the next person.
Next person.
Wish them well and then continue on with your life. Because, okay, we are people. And you do tend to be jealous, but your jealousy it needs to be your drive. My jealousy is my drive. Whenever I'm jealous of somebody else, it drives me, pushes me further. And that's a good way to channel jealousy. Not to be consumed by another person's life or to take it in so much that you want to change yourself and you want to make changes that are drastic in your life that hurt you. But just take it in and be like, you know what, I'm there, I'm coming. Slowly.
I'm almost there.
We have different races.
That's true. That's true. We're all running with different races. And it's so hard because people they fail to understand that I might be 22. Someone out there might be the same age, but they may have achieved a lot of things than me. And it's my responsibility to understand that my race is different to that person.
Very different.
It's super different.
Your life is different. Your upbringing is different. Your background is different. Even with your siblings. You're different from your mother. You're different from your siblings. You're different from your twin. Even if you have a twin, you can never have the same race as your twin.
That's true.
You're not the same.
A race is a race.
You might be identical twins, but technically you're different people. You're different lives. So you have to live different paths.
That's true.
So honestly, like this thing of people putting pressure on themselves to be a certain way, and that's tragic. It's another thing that leads to people killing themselves and doing all sorts of things, or getting into environments where they shouldn't be because they're trying to be someone that they're not. They're consumed by it. And some people sit in their rooms and they negatively say things about other people just because they just want to, it makes them feel good.
That's true.
Live your own life.
It goes a long way to a point where, you know, when you, I feel like, Mina, it all starts when a person becomes jealous. And when they become jealous, they view whatever that particular person succeeds or achieves things as something negative. But instead they should be using that as a this thing, as something that will just keep them going, just like you said, that you view that if someone is achieving good things in life, you clap for them, then you challenge yourself to do good, to work hard towards that level. And I feel like once we understand that, we will stop putting so much pressure on ourselves.
I feel like we also need to just be inspired, but don't be inspired by other people before you're inspired by yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
And you need to celebrate. I always do this. It's to some people it's not important, but to me it is. I celebrate every little achievement in my life.
You reward yourself.
I reward myself because I feel like
Yeah.
if I don't reward myself,
True.
then I don't see
Yeah.
it. It's important to me. That's why I did it.
Yeah.
If I do something, it's important to me.
True.
Whatever it is that I do, it's important to me, and I wanted to do this. So I'm going to reward myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to celebrate myself, and I'm going to enjoy. You know, I'm going to reap my rewards.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like it's your hard work. It might not be hard work for somebody else, but it was hard work for me.
Yeah, true. That's very important, guys. You need to understand that for every little achievement that you achieve, you've got to reward yourself. You've got to be excited. You've got to. It has to be like a sort of like an inspiration, a drive, keeps you going. So that's very important. So there's other thing that I want to learn from you, and I want you to just put me in the picture of it. As uSnow, kuyingane ezikhula phambi kwakho, the kids at your school, what role do you play? Mawuzibheka nje wena njengoSnow, like okay, mina nguSnow, this is the actual role that I play.
Okay, to my brothers, I'm the sister. To my family, actually, I'm a sister. I play a role in older and younger people. So I'm a nurturer. I'm a mother at times. They always complain that I shout, but I push them. I drive them to work harder. I'm always there. I'm a listening ear. I can be anything, but I know there's one thing that I know that I can do perfectly well. It's to listen and to advise. So I'm a good listening ear. I'm good at advising them. I'm good at also identifying a problem. If somebody's not okay, I'm very quick to see. So I create that safe space for them. I'm nurturing in the sense that obviously I feed them very well. I'm a cook. I tend to say I'm a good cook.
You are. You must say. Yeah. You must give yourself critics. That's what I believe in.
But I'm also a nurturer in the fact that if ever somebody, you know what, when you experience hardships in life and you experience turmoil, whether it's mental or health-wise or depression or whatever, you know, I've went through the works. I've experienced almost everything. So I don't judge. I just lend a helping hand, and I lend a shoulder, and I lend a safe space, and I lend a place where you can come in, and I create warmth, and then I create laughter, I create joy. I love a space where people are happy.
Yeah, that's
so
important.
I love my family being happy. I love my kids being happy, like the kids that I nurture, even though I don't have my own children, but I love my cousins being happy. Whenever I'm around, I want the kids to be happy. And I don't want them to be happy because, happy how. I want to get to the root problem. I want to dig in, so they cry, and it comes out, and then I want to bring out joy afterwards. That's what I do when I'm around them.
having someone to talk to is very important at times. I feel like in most cases, sometimes kids also go through a lot in life. Kids go through a lot in life, and it's so deep to a point whereby a kid might go through something at the age of 7, and that particular thing might affect a kid until, I don't know,
I feel like even now it's getting worse. Children are just so, I don't know whether it's technology or it's the time, it's the millennium we're living in, but children are so smart.
very smart.
They're very aware of themselves.
Yeah.
They learn very quickly who they are. So in exploring those things, certain things tend to come up and confuse them.
Yeah.
Kids are also very harsh these days.
It's very harsh.
They speak their minds quite a lot, and sometimes they don't have a filter, and sometimes they hurt each other.
Yeah.
So I feel like in this day and age, children are just going through a lot of stuff, and they're so confused with everything that's happening in the world. And
That's true.
it's important for us as the older generation to a child that's not even yours.
Yeah.
But you just need to
Yeah.
be that steering wheel a bit.
Yeah.
I don't say be in the child's life too much that it conflicts with
Just
what
be
their
a
parents.
guidance.
But if the child needs guidance and they come to you, be that guiding
Yeah, that's true.
person. Be that Don't be too far off from the child that the child feels like they can't open up to you in a space.
That's true.
Be that open, canvas. Create a space where the child knows that, you know what, she's an elder, I respect her, but I can always go to her for something.
And vent to her. So yeah, that is very important at all times, guys. It is very, 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 very important. I feel like we have a specific role to play wherever we are, despite our ages, but we've got to be out there to assist our Zali in bringing up kids. I'm 22. I might have, and I have experienced a lot. But if I see a 15-year-old going through a specific situation, it's my responsibility to from one stage to another, because I know I've been there, So I feel like if we work as a country, we work as a community, we work as sisters, we work as brothers, we can change this world into something else. And I feel like it would make our lives much easier, and even for our kids.
And I also feel like there's something that we often neglect now as the youth, as social media, as media in general. We neglect to acknowledge our elders.
Yeah, that's true.
They also, life is a phase. It goes from being young to you transitioning to being older, to you going back to being young again. Because when you're older, I feel like you tend to be young again. Acknowledge your parents. I think the one form of thing that we're losing is respect and acknowledgement for our elders, and to love them and to listen to them and to understand them. Create that bond. Sit with your parents. They've got a lot to say.
A lot.
Our grandparents have so much information. They've got so much wisdom.
But they can't share it with anyone in these days.
They can't share it with the children because now the children know all these things. So they feel like there's a rift, there's a gap between us. Close the gap. You start with your own family. Close that gap. When you're in family gatherings, speak to the elders because they've got wisdom to share.
True.
Don't look at them and think, oh, rural person, they will not. They've got shared knowledge. They've got shared wisdom. They also need you.
Yeah, that's true.
We need each other. They need you. You need them. So engage with them. You don't know what you'll teach each other. There's no such thing as saying, I'm not going to go to this person because this person is this age. They won't have anything to say. I feel like they feel intimidated by us so much because we're not engaging with them as we're supposed to. Form of respect. First and foremost, in order to reach an elder, be respectful. The rest just follows.
So guys out there, I hope you are listening very carefully that respect plays a long way in our success. And if I was about Shubati, who are you going to be? What are you going to be in this world?
And
in most cases, it's very rare that you find them becoming successful. Despite talking about successful, despite that, ukuhlonipha kusilethela good energy. Because if you're a respecting person, obviously nabantu bazokuhlonipha kwawena. They say, uma ngabe ufuna ukuhlonipha, nawe kwazi ukuthi uhlonipha abanye abantu. So respect plays an important role lately. Not even lately, before and now. So please guys, continue respecting our parents. And ningayithathi ngendlela yokuthi now I'm educated. Education should not take away inhlonipho yethu. Inhlonipho kuhlala kuyinhlonipho. We need to respect our parents at all times. Not our biological parents, but umuntu omdala nomncane futhi in the same way. So we are currently facing an issue, which is the abuse. This topic, it's very touching, and I feel like both genders are becoming abused in a certain way. Males and females. I want to be precisely honest. But in most cases, it is females that are being abused. So I feel like there is a lot to talk about. What's your view and perspective on this issue of abuse, and how can we overcome it or lower the stats and everything?
I don't want to seem biased or one-sided or say, it's a very sensitive issue.
It's very sensitive.
When you touch GBV, it's extremely true. And people experience it in different ways.
That's true.
What I want to say is abuse, abuse begins in baby steps.
Yeah.
It's not always the cases whereby a child was just kidnapped, raped, and then they murdered or whatever is being done that criminals do. But some forms actually gradually progress.
Yeah.
You need to, which is why I say you need to know your boundaries, you need to know who you are as a person in order to quickly see the signs.
Yeah.
With yourself and with anybody else. So just be cautious. I feel like as women or as men, we need to be cautious. We need to be verbal. We need to be, the safe spaces, as I said, they need to be everywhere. Not only do we need to have a safe space with only the social workers, or there needs to be a specific person that needs to allow for that safe space, but also like in our families, there needs to be that person that creates that safe zone for somebody to talk.
So thank you so much, Snow, for joining us on my show. It was really having you, and I hope that you guys have learned a lot from her. And I need you guys to use whatever knowledge that she outlined and gave to you guys out there. Please be wisely and stay safe at all times, and make sure that you follow all of the precautions and be safe. You guys, be safe, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and please share. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy. I'll see you next time on my next video.